Hi, this is Karen. I'm with inspiredbygraham.com. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how I recreated a card that Tammy Wilson created. It uses the same products except for I changed up the greenery and I added the Rococo Rose greenery, and the dies that I used here to create this wonderful focal point comes from the Sunflowers dies. So let's get started creating this card. I used the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set. This is a fabulous birthday stamp set that has lots of big images here and also some kind of fancy fonts there as well. So we will be using It's Your Day, Enjoy It, and Happy B-Day on the inside. All right, so for all the products here, I've already got them all cut out, ready to go, and we just need to stamp and assemble. So these are all the little pieces that I die cut previously. I die cut with Rococo Rose and also the vellum cardstock. So we're going to just set those aside for a minute just because we've got a lot of layers here and we need to do some stamping as well. So that's my inside panel, and this is there's a layering panel here, Whisper White too. So my card base here is Smoky Slate, and it's cut 8.5 by 5.5, and I've already pre-scored it at 4.25. That's your standard A2 size card. The Whisper White panels I cut, I'm offering this card actually for my in-person class next week. So for those card makers, I didn't want the white panels to be confusing to them, so I just cut them both the same size. So these are cut 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. One's going to go on the inside and one is going to be a layering piece. We're going to stamp this one first. I've got Rococo Rose, that's one of the new in colors. And I've got the Happy B-Day, and this is on a C block. Love the Stampin' Up blocks. They're just really nice grip to them, and they work really well for me. So that one is all set. Now I've got a piece of In Good Taste Designer Series paper. This is cut 1.5 by 4, and I'm going to ink up It's Your Day, Enjoy It. And I'm going to stamp more towards the right side of that panel, and just like that. And then I'm going to take my Whisper White medium envelope and I'm going to stamp that same message right in the lower left corner. So when they receive it in the mail, it's going to be kind of a fun surprise. All right, that is all of our stamping. So let me just close up my ink pad here and we'll just assemble. Okay, so I've got my Stampin' Seal here, and I have my silicone mat because I love to work on this. You're going to take this piece of In Good Taste Designer Series paper. This is cut 3 3/4 by 5. I'm just going to flip it over to this back side here. And I'm just going to run my adhesive all the way around all 4 sides. And I'm going to layer it right on this piece of Whisper White, which again is cut 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So there's just 1/8 of an inch border on all 4 sides, but it does add a nice little touch. We're going to flip this over. Again, I'm adding my adhesive on all 4 sides, and I'm going to add it to that Smoky Slate card base. And I like using the dimensions 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 just because it shows off more of that Smoky Slate panel. Now we can add the inside panel as well, and I just like to add adhesive right to the top and call it good. And then we're going to just layer this. It's just a little bit bigger of a border than your standard 4 by 5 1/4. All right, so that's all done on the inside. The next piece is another piece of Whisper White. This is cut 3 by 4, and I've already embossed it for you with a Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And so again, we're just going to add our adhesive on all 4 sides. And now I'm going to line this up so it's centered top and bottom and the right side there. with a less of a gap of that designer series paper right here on the right side. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this panel here that we previously stamped on, and I'm gonna get out my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm just gonna add 5 to this panel here. Now, designer series paper, it is thinner than our cardstock, of course, so you do need to give it a little bit of extra support, so we'll do that by adding 5 dimensionals. So I just was down to my last of the dimensionals, so I'm using the side pieces here. Got to use them because we don't want to throw those away because they make great dimensionals, right? They're just not they're not, you know, shaped like that, but they do work perfectly. All right, so we're just going to peel those off. And now let's bring our card back into the picture. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this edge of the In Good Taste Designer Series paper with the edge of that Whisper White panel. And I've got about 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch border on the bottom. And I'm just going to put it right down there and give it a good press so I know that those dimensionals are sticking to that embossed panel. All right, so now to create the focal point here, which is the vellum in the Rococo Rose Floral focal point, and I've got this gorgeous trim here that we'll be working with a little bit later. So to do this, I've got all 4 of my pieces here. Let's bring those in, and I die cut these with the Sunflowers dies, and you'll definitely need some glue dots, but you have to be super careful when you pull them off of the glue dots, because the glue dots are very, very sticky, but this floral piece is actually very, very delicate. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add one right there, and that stuck really good. Now I'm going to bring in, let's see, I always have a hard time deciding what I want to do. So I'm going to actually add the Rococo Rose piece and peel that off really slowly, and I'm going to angle it going this way. So it's filling up this area here, and it's pointing up that way. So I've got 2 going like this, like a V. Now I'm going to bring this one back in. This is the double branch one. Again, I'm going to add that glue dot to the bottom and peel it off really slowly. I'm going to add this one right in the middle. And then the final touch is another piece of that vellum foliage. And I'm just going to peel it off real slow. And now I'm going to add this one right over top of the double one. Okay. So we're not finished yet, because what we need to do is we need to create this bow here. And I'm going to show you how I create my bows. I can't make them very well, so I use my bow maker. And I've got the trim here, and I also have the linen thread. So this gold trim here comes from the Forever Greenery Trim Combo Pack. So I'm going to match these up, the ends up, and what I do is I kind of just go like to the length of this bow maker, and that's going to be probably good enough. You want it so you can actually work with it too, so it's easy to tie around. So I'm going to wrap it around here, then the right side is going over the top of the left one. I'm bringing the left one over, pinching it in the middle, and then I'm grabbing those 2 ends, keeping them separately. And now I'm just going to tie a knot, getting all of those threads through. What I love about the gold trim is that it separates. There's probably, I think that I've counted them, there are either 9 or 10 little strands of gold trim here. So it just makes it look really, really pretty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this trim and I'm just going to loosen it all up so all those little pieces get separated. We're done with that bow maker. So now this is looking really good. It's splitting apart, which was what I wanted it to do. I'm going to flip it around and see that I want more of that gold showing on the top. You'll need another glue dot, lots of glue dots with this project. We're going to set it right on there. And now let's bring our card back into the picture. I'm going to pinch that knot area and that glue dot all together at the same time. Now I'm going to put it right on the bottom of that foliage bouquet and give it a good press. Now I'm going to take my paper snips and gather up the tails here because I want to trim it off. It's just a little bit too long. So I'm cutting it just like that, and I cut it to the distance of that In Good Taste Designer Series paper. All right, so now if you want, you can take your pick tool and separate the linen thread just so that it kind of matches with that gold trim. So you just run it through the trim. Got that one done, and we've got this one due too. And what I'm doing is I'm holding this knot because I don't want it to come off. Because if you pull it too hard, it could come off. All right, so that looks a lot better than having your linen thread just all like this. It just gives it a much more delicate look. All right, so that's our almost done, actually. I almost forgot the last step. You can keep your card like this, but if you wanted to add an embellishment, I would choose the gold glitter enamel dots because of the gold that's in that trim. So I'm just going to take a large enamel dot, add one right there, and then a smaller one. We'll add one, I don't know, right about there. And then we're going to take another small one, and it's stuck to my finger. And I'm just going to put one right down in this corner so that my eyes now are going all the way around to see this beautiful card we just made. All right, so this is our card and our wonderful coordinating envelope. It's your day. Enjoy it, which I hope you do. And here's another one that I made beforehand. Let me show you one more card. It's similar. The only thing is it's a little bit different because I used a different type of the In Good Taste Designer Series paper, the wood grain one. It's a darker shade of wood grain. And also what I did was I heat embossed It's Your Day with embossing powder, and that was white embossing powder. So when it melted, it dried and gave it a little bit of a rustic look. So that's just another option for you. But the In Good Taste Designer Series paper just works so nicely with cards. Either a masculine look or with this one, a more feminine look. So for all the products that I used today, you can visit me at inspiredbygram.com. Thanks for watching.